Hi guys, Rick Malava here. My nickname in the forums is CTBRAM, and this is just a quick video for one of the users. His name is, I think, Sergeant Big Z. Yeah. And he just had a question. He's been talking a little bit about topology and whatnot. He's working on this fairly complex, kind of cool looking model up here he's been working on. And he had a question about how I took this topology here for this cube with a hole through it and retopologized it so that it had this better topology here, this topology that radiates out from the hole in the middle. So I'm going to show you how I did that very quickly. So basically what we have here is a 16-sided cylinder that's been drilled through this cube, and we used a boolean to create it and then cut in the proper edges so that we get good edge flow here and all quads. And there's always a lot of different ways that you can create topology, but what you want to really try to strive for is for rectangular quad faces. And in this version up here, it is all quads. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. But this odd-shaped, this is really a four-sided polyface, and if you took this vertex and you imagine pulling it down a little bit, you get really kind of a diamond shape or a kite. And this isn't the best of topologies. If I, for instance, wanted to cut support edges that go around this thing, if I tried to cut the edge that goes around and then follows these dashed lines it wants to go dive through the center, you get that same behavior, by the way, with this topology down here. It's going to want to dive down and follow this edge here, but ultimately it's easier to clean up, and in the end you end up with a much better topology with rectangular faces and a better edge flow. So let me show you how I created this real quickly. I'm actually going to start with this kind of wonky topology here that's four-sided, and then show you what I did to clean it up and turn it into the slightly better topology down here so that you can see the process. So let me pull this out of the way, and I like to use the marking menus here rather than the tabs up here, and you get to this by holding the space key. So I'm going to come down here and create a polycube, just sort of eyeball it square, 5 key to get solid shading on, and then I'm going to create a polygon cylinder kind of in front of it and pull it up, and then I'm going to come over to here. And in this particular case, I gave it 16 bases so that it's will hold up its round shape from a relatively kind of a medium camera distance here. And then let's put all these guys at the origins. Okay. And then let's go to the outliner here and pick our poly cylinder. And I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, and I'm going to scale it so that it cuts through our cube, and let's scale it down so we get something similar to what we had in the original. I'm going to turn this grid off because it's distracting and zoom in a little bit. And so I want to first of all cut a hole through this using this guy as a cutter, but as I discussed earlier, you really don't want to cut a hole into a face that doesn't have a connection to an outer edge. So before I do that, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to insert edge loops, and I'm going to put one right in the middle there and one right in the middle there. Alright, so now if I come over here and I take this and I subtract that, go to the boolean difference, now we've got a nice hole cut through our cube here, and we've got this hole's not floating in the middle of an open face, but we do have these end guns. So to turn this face into quads, all I did was went to the split tool here, and we have 1, 2, split it there, go to the end, and then count these two edges, come back to this edge right here. Oh, it didn't take that first cut, so it's easy to fix. We'll go to there. Okay, so now we've got 3 faces and they're all quads, but we have these wonky triangular sort of modified kite faces here. So let's do this whole thing. Now this has symmetry, so I could cut this up and just do this one time and then mirror and copy things. If you mess up like that, just hit the delete key to delete your last vertex that you placed. Now, I don't want to have to go through that all over again, so what I'm going to do on the back side over here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to once again come over here and go insert an edge loop and throw one right in the middle there, and then I can come in here and grab all these faces and just delete them. Okay, and then take this guy and mirror it next. Okay, so I'll leave that edge there for now, it's no big deal. And then of course I deleted the part of the cylinder that goes through the cube, but that's easy to fix. I can just take this edge loop and this edge loop and do a bridge. Okay, now if you do your bridge and you see that it's twisted like this, just go to your channel box, go to the offset, and then with the middle mouse button just scrub it until it untwists itself like that. Okay, so now the issue with this shape is that if I want to, for instance, add an edge loop on the inside here to hold this edge, that's pretty easy. I can insert that edge loop, but it's still in multiple edges, so come over here. Sometimes this happens too. When that happens, just drop the tool and reopen it. Insert edge loop. Now, insert edge loop. I'll get it yet. Okay, there we go. So now you can see I can add the edge loop in there to hold coming around this edge, and you want to basically have three edges close together to tighten an edge up. But if I try to create an edge loop here, you see it's kind of having a problem, and that's because of this kind of wonky topology I have here. So what I ended up doing for this, see, it wants to follow it around to this point, but then it wants to dive through the middle of the cylinder there. So what I did here, I'll back up a couple steps, is I just grabbed this whole edge loop right there, and I grabbed this whole edge loop. Whoop. Sometimes it doesn't drop your edge selections for the last couple versions. I wanted to do that because you see when I try to select this edge loop, for the same reason we have this weird shaped polygon here, it won't select the whole edge loop, so I have to hold the shift key down and click select a couple times. Right, and then now I can take this and I can throw a bevel on it, and then I can come over here and I can tighten that bevel up, and I can throw a second segment in, and now I've got the three edges that I need. And this is another thing that happens. Sometimes it will drop the shader. If this happens, just select your object and reapply your shader node. So come down here and say, oops, I'm sorry, quit. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm holding the shift key down. Just don't hold the shift key down, right mouse click and come down here and go add existing material and just throw your Lambert back on. And there we go. Now, you see we have some artifacts here. And that's because when I threw this bevel in, I made this surface here slightly non-planar. Now, part of that reason is because we have these the dash lines. I have a mode turned on where soft edges show up as dash lines and hard edges show up as solid lines. And so you see some artifacts here right now, but watch what happens when I harden all the edges in this model. Right, when I harden all the edges, all those artifacts go away on the face. Okay, so it's nice and clean now, and you don't see those artifacts there. When you smooth it, of course, it's gonna soften up around these edges, but now you see that hole going through the middle is clean. Now, let's do the support edges around this side here. So if I come over here, and I'm just going to work on this front side. It's basically the same process for the back, and I could do the mirror thing, but we only need to see it from this side. So let's come in here and let's fix these edges so they don't round out so much, right? So adding one edge loop is pretty easy. We come in here, insert edge loop, make sure that we're equal distance, and this one goes in just fine. Now we also need one that goes down this edge and that edge and that edge, and all of those are problematic because if I try to cut an edge in, you see now we dive down into our hole in the center again. So what I did to fix this is just from the side view, you can come in here, and I see my cube is more of a rectangle, but you get the general idea. If I come in here with the object selected and I hold down the right shift and the right mouse button, you see I have this option cut faces tool. And if I hold the shift button down, see I can press an edge. Oops, see, let's see. If I press an edge and sort of move this around, you can see I make a cut, and if I hold the shift key down, I can constrain it to 45-degree angles, right? And if I drop it, it makes the cut. So, oops, butterfingers here. I'll get it. There we go. Go back. There we go. Sorry about that. Keyboard's a little bit different than the one I used, a little bit larger than the one I used before, so my fingers are off a little bit. But so anyway, we need to create these support edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and pick that Cut Edges tool. Holding the Shift key down, I'm going to put an edge right there. I'm going to put one right there. I'm going to put one right there. And I'm going to put one right here. Okay? So I'm going to Z, because that one didn't quite go right for me, and try to make them consistent all the way around. And now we've got all this wonky topology again here. Once again, this is symmetric, so I could take just a quarter of this and do it and then mirror everything about, but I'm just going to go through it manually here. So I need to clean this up in all these corners. So what I'm going to do is go to vertex mode, pick this vertex, then holding the shift and right mouse button, I'm going to go to vertex snapping, and I'm going to move this guy to there and there. Oops, this guy to here. Okay, and I'm going to do some more cleanup, but I'm going to do one operation, the same operation all the way around, and then I'll come back through and clean up some other edges. So I want to do the same thing here. And like I'm doing this very quickly, so don't worry about the fact that it's not perfectly symmetric here. And take this one and fix it. Oops. There we go. And then do the same thing up here, this one and that one. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is I need to clean these edges up. So I'm just going to select them and do delete edge, and then come over to this side, do the same thing, these two, and then I can just hit the G key to repeat, and then come over to this guy, G key to repeat, and we're almost there. Right, boom, boom, and G key to delete. And now, if I come back out here and go to object mode, and just so that this back end doesn't round off, I'm going to come in here and insert an edge loop. A support edge right there. Now, I didn't bother to fix this backside up. Well, you know what? It's going to make the video slightly longer, but this is going to end up being about 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to just delete all of that. And once again, just go mirror -X. And there we go, problem solved. So now we've got an all quad model, and we have support edges going around all the corners. So if I take this surface and smooth it, you see we get a nice model, with the exception of the fact that once again, when I split this up, I did not, I deleted this inner portion. So pick that edge loop and that edge loop, edges bridge. And then once again, we get this twisting. So I'll come over here, grab our offset, and then scrub it until we get everybody to line up again. So now if I smooth it. Okay, so there's the first topology that I showed you, and you can see that it smooths out. It looks fine, but you do have some kind of strange. You got these little kites in here, and you got this sort of lumpy edges going around here. It's not the perfect, the best topology in the world. And we did have that one problem where I couldn't put an edge loop around in here. And if I wanted to take and say, get a more even distribution of vertexes sort of in the middle here, I couldn't add an edge loop around this circle here. If I tried to do that, I get a mess, right? So if I try to insert an edge loop here, that's a pain. Okay, so let's fix this topology up so it's a little bit better. All right. So let's see if I can do this without making it a 40-minute video here. What's the fastest way to do this? Yeah, I know. So let's start back where we were. And that's pretty easy to do. We're just going to take these edges, and I'm selecting through the model, by the way, when I do this. I should have made a copy before I started. Let's just, backing out of this is going to be longer than it's going to take me just to recreate it. So let's delete this one and create a new one. Bring back our grid real quick here, and then create a polygon cube, right, and create a polygon cylinder. And make it 16 edges, and put everybody at the origin. Take this guy, hit the E key. Oops. I have discrete snapping on my rotation, by the way, so it snaps in 10-degree increments. I flip that on and off as I'm modeling. I do it because a lot of times it's better to keep, work your things that in hard surface modeling that go through it at nice even angles. So let's take this guy minus this guy. I'm going to end up causing that problem. And maybe a later video I'll show you what happens when you create a hole and some of the problems you can run into when you do it. But this is already getting to be 16 minutes, so let's hurry along here. Let's do and throw the edge in here and here like we did before. And then take this and this boolean difference. And there we go. So now we're back to where we were with the other one. And let's get rid of this grid because it's distracting. And so now I can make the squads again by drawing those edges in, but what I did is I took the model that had those edges, those triangular edges or odd diamond shaped edges in here. I just deleted the edges and came back to this point, and then all you have to do is this right here. I'm going to go through and I'm going to insert an edge loop, and once again I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm just going to throw an edge in here, oops, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and you can see where I'm going now, here and here. And now all I have to do is split polygon tool and just put an edge in there, an edge in there, an edge in there, and you can see it's brilliant. Okay, magic. So as you do this stuff, you find these tricks. Once again, this has symmetry, so I could do this the intelligent way and split it into a quarter and just do this once and then do a couple of mirrors, but it's pretty fast to just go through and do this. And then let's quickly insert an edge loop in the middle right here. And let's get rid of these faces. Let's take this and mirror it in X, and take this edge, that edge, and bridge it, and fix the twisting. Okay, now after all that, the advantage of this topology is that if I want to create the edges, the support edges that go around the outer edges, I run into a similar problem. Let me show you that. So if I come in here and I want to insert an edge loop, I've got to pick an edge before this menu pops up, and I want to insert an edge loop, and I want to put it where I want it. So I'll put one right here. So you see that edge loop is good, and now I can also do this edge loop real easily. And unlike the first topology, I can now do this edge loop very easily. See, and I can add another one. I can add as many as I want, and it follows this because it's a cleaner topology. So see, so that's the first advantage of this layout. But I do have the same problem if I want to put the edge in that goes along the outer edges. See, it wants to dive down through the center. So we do that same trick we did before. Go to a side view and just come in here and do cut faces tool and throw an edge in right here, and an edge in right here, an edge in right here, and here, and here. Okay. And if you don't like one, you can pick the edge by double clicking it, and you can do slide edge and then middle mouse to, or just hit the W key and tug it down a little bit. It's going to cause some wackiness because we got some strange edges here, but we're going to clean this up now, just like we did before. Now I'm just going to leave it where it was, and the easier way to do it is just pick it and delete it, and then come back in here and do cut faces again, and just drop it in, and that's a little better. Okay, so I'm doing this really quickly. If you're doing it, you'd be a little bit more careful. So now we got to fix this again. So just come in here and grab this vertex, and we're just going to use that same vertex merge tool. Just pull this guy over, and we'll do the same thing. We'll go around and do this for all the verts first. And you see this is actually less work than it was for the other topology as well, because I only have to do delete one edge at when we're done with all of this merging. Now I can just come through here, go back to edge mode, pick that edge. I'm just going to pick all the edges this time. Pick that edge, this edge, and this edge, and do a delete edge. Remember to do delete edge. If you just hit the delete key, you'll leave a floating vertex in the model. You probably already know that, but just for anybody else that's watching this. And there we almost go. For some reason I didn't get rid of that one. Okay, and then we do the same trick again here. Faces, just for completeness, and we'll take this and mirror it in X, and there we go. And then of course we have to fix this again. And bridge, and this time we get a real mess. That's kind of fun. And then come over here and pick the offset and scrub it, and there we go, nice and clean again. And now I have that topology. Here's that deal where it sometimes doesn't unselect your edges, so don't worry about that. And another thing to notice in this version is I'm not getting those weird anomalies around the surface here, and that's because I didn't bevel this edge. I actually just added support loops, so I didn't make this surface slightly non-planar. So you can get away with some of the edges being softened. I tend to like to model with everything hard so I can see the faceting in my model. And then when I smooth, it automatically softens all the edges. And there you go. There's a smooth version of the cube. And you can see you have a much nicer topology here. All of these polygons are rectangular-ish, and that's going to be a lot better when you go to texture this or try to add geometry in. So there you go. I hope this helps you out and gives you an idea how you can change one. Don't be afraid to go through and add some extra edges and delete some edges and re-topologize a surface to make a little cleaner layout. So I hope this helped you out, and I hope your modeling goes well. Thanks for watching.